In the heart of Ogoniland, Nigeria, there lived a passionate and fearless activist named Ken Saro-Wiwa. He was a visionary and a voice for his people, fighting for justice and environmental preservation. Ken understood the value of the land, the rivers, and the cultural heritage of the Ogoni people. As the oil industry exploited the rich reserves beneath their feet, the people of Ogoniland bore the brunt of the devastation caused by oil spills. Their once thriving farmlands and vibrant ecosystems turned into wastelands of black sludge and despair. The Ogoni people suffered the consequences of polluted air, contaminated water, and the loss of their traditional way of life. Driven by a deep sense of injustice, Ken Saro-Wiwa took it upon himself to bring the plight of his people to the world's attention. He founded the movement for the survival of Ogoni people, MOSOP, and led non-violent protests demanding accountability from the oil companies and the Nigerian government. Ken's unwavering dedication caught the attention of both local and international communities. With his eloquence and powerful words, he gave voice to the voiceless, shedding light on the environmental and human rights abuses that plagued Ogoniland. The oil companies and the government, threatened by Ken's influential activism, responded with hostility. They attempted to silence him and the voices of the Ogoni people, subjecting them to violence, harassment, and false accusations. But Ken's resolve only grew stronger. In 1995, the situation escalated dramatically. Ken Saro-Wiwa and his compatriots were falsely accused of inciting violence, arrested, and subjected to a flawed trial. The world watched in horror as Ken and his fellow activists were sentenced to death, a grave injustice that shook the foundations of human rights. Despite the international outcry and pleas for clemency, Ken Saro-Wiwa and 8 other Ogoni activists were executed, their lives cruelly taken away. The world mourned their loss, and Ogoniland plunged into grief, but their sacrifices ignited a flame that could not be extinguished. The martyrdom of Ken Saro-Wiwa and the Ogoni activists became a turning point in the struggle for justice. It rallied the global community, shining a spotlight on the atrocities committed against the Ogoni people and other marginalized communities affected by oil exploitation. Their sacrifice galvanized a movement that could not be ignored. The international pressure intensified, leading to increased scrutiny on the oil industry and demands for stricter regulations. Governments and corporations were forced to acknowledge the need for accountability and sustainable practices. In the years that followed, the memory of Ken Saro-Wiwa and his fellow activists lived on as a symbol of courage, resilience, and the fight for justice. Their legacy inspired a new generation of activists determined to protect the environment and ensure that the rights of marginalized communities were upheld. Although Ogoniland still bears the scars of the oil spills, their story serves as a reminder that even in the face of adversity, the voices of the oppressed cannot be silenced. The spirit of Ken Saro-Wiwa continues to guide and inspire the ongoing struggle for justice, environmental preservation, and the empowerment of marginalized communities around the world.